special Wednesday edition. Little bit of fodder, little bit of things kind of trickling out there on the social media universe.
Right.
Spoon, how's the sinuses today as we let some folks build up and get in here?
The sinus is whipping my butt right now, but it is what it is.
I hear that. I hear that. I mean, keep doing what you got to do, brother. Keep fighting the good fight. For a long time, I guess I would probably say, man, for probably the past 3 or 4 shows for sure, right? We have definitely had, the outpouring. We've even updated somewhat when we get a little tidbit of information as it pertains to Randy Gregory. We know heading into camp, the biggest thing that was going on with Gregory at that point was we heard that we kind of had a little weird, like it kind of leaked out there that the Cowboys are washing their hands. They were done with Gregory. And everyone's kind of like taking a step back from that. And then it turned into Stephen Jones coming out and saying, whoa, that's not the case. And that they were actually trying to work with the NFL league office to go ahead, even if he's not reinstated, let him be here for the start of training camp. That's kind of the last bit of word that we got, what was going on there. But the man, I think, hasn't spoken about 20 months really on it. And that's Randy Gregory came out today and has something to say. What's going on, Cameron? Thank you for tuning in. Khalid, I see you as well. Buddha's in the building. What's going on? Give it a like, give it a share. We're going to build it in here right now. Finally, some pertinent news. Let me get it up here for Mr. Gregory, right? And as he posted on Twitter today, said, "I really miss playing football and being a player in the NFL. I'm doing everything that is asked of me, and I'm in great shape physically, mentally, and emotionally. But I'm being held back from furthering my career because of COVID and testing. I've been ready to play and test for months, but still have gotten little to no help to resolve my reinstatement. I'm asking more questions than I'm getting answered. It's amazing that the powers that be can keep passing the buck and also use this pandemic as a way to prevent me from joining my team. Tell me to just sit and wait in limbo over things I can't control. All the while, doing everything right off the field is unfair and flat out wrong." I would say at this point, he's frustrated. I think that's to mildly put it, that he's frustrated. And then I do believe he actually had a back and forth again on Twitter with Joe Briggs, right? And they went back and forth about it. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Let me pull that one up because that was another one kind of like, wow, that's pretty good. I see the after party was epic. Hey man, we let the hair down a little bit on the after show party for sure, Buddha. Some a little special for the YouTube subs that don't get to see us, maybe a little bit more unfiltered way for sure. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But again, as we're talking right now, as people are coming in, what's going on, Paige? See here, Mendoza, I see you in the building. Elton's also in here. Alan's, what's going on? I see you as well. Man, we're having a good one. Just going to kind of touch base on some of these things we got to see. Give it a like, give it a share. If you're on YouTube, you can also comment. We can get your comments up as well, not just the Facebook comments now. We finally got all that stuff arranged. It only took, 2 weeks, but we got it. Well, again, we got it. We got it situated. Let me pull up the back and forth real quick with those guys. That was definitely something that he did, and it was like, I think there's a point of being frustrated, but then on the same token, how far do you really want to go? And what part is it going to start setting you back some? What you're doing as it pertains to the Twitterverse, if you will, and as he went at Joe Briggs Esquire said, "I find it interesting that you have time to tweet all day, but you and your boss can't email me and my agent back at NFLPA. Can y'all help me understand?" Joe responds, "You should have an email from me shortly if it is not in your inbox already. I continue to support you. My number is still the same." Gregory responds with, "Don't try to save face publicly. We both know what happens behind closed doors." With Joe comes back to, "We do. I respect you and your confidentiality and will continue to work for you. Please give me a call if you need anything." And then Randy ended it with, "It'd be your own people, huh, Joe?" Again, frustrating, Spoon. I mean, obviously, on a lot of different fronts. Very frustrating for, as we talked about before, 3 or 4 shows straight. I mean, this is something we've talked about for over a year, even here and there. And it looks like it's definitely boiled over for Gregory now and not getting an understanding. You've kind of seen all this back and forth. We talked a little bit. What do you think, man?
Oh, it's disgusting all the way through. I think what Randy Gregory did was brave to even challenge Joe Briggs or the NFLPA right on social media about it. It kind of tells all the fans, the Cowboy fans, what's going on. It's not Gregory's fault. And on top of that, I know there's certain fans that they're basically saying, well, it's good for him and stuff like that. And it's not. End of the day, when you fight very hard, when you fight your demons, it takes time. And a lot of the reasons why he was being suspended, it was because he was smoking weed at the time. The story actually came out that he was missing appointments at one time. So when you go into rehab, you're pretty much there's no contact with the world. You know what I'm saying? Right. There's no phone call, none of that. So when the NFL wanted their urine test or whatever on time, he was at those meetings. And that was brought up the time when he came back just in time for the playoffs, I believe in 2016. And all of a sudden, couple weeks later, right back on suspension. And he's been struggling for the past 2 years. He's worked very hard to get by. Right now, the NFL with the new NFLPA about marijuana, if it's in your system, you're not being suspended anymore. So, what is the problem? What's the holdup? Right. That's the thing. What is the holdup? There's other guys who have got reinstated, who has went in the league, back out the league, in the league, back out the league. You understand what I'm saying? And what makes Grandy so different that that they're taking their time with it.
Right. And back to what Buddha said, Buddha had asked, who is Randy talking about? And that's, of course, Briggs works for the NFLPA, supposed to be working on his behalf with the front office to get, or the NFL's head office to get him reinstated and pushed forward. Now, what we do know as it pertains to the Gregory side of things is that he did apply for reinstatement after Alden Smith. That's definitely part of what happened. And then the COVID thing and the shuffling of the paper. But I mean, they've been able to go ahead and get a ruling done just recently on Antonio Brown. So, I mean, this really shouldn't be an issue of them at this point to get something done with Randy Gregory as well. And at this point, obviously, Gregory is upset. I mean, we kind of know the backstory. At the end of the day, he self-medicated for some mental issues that regular stuff didn't seem to help him, if you will, right? Medication, over-the-counter medication or prescriptions and stuff like that didn't really work for him. So this isn't, say take somebody like a Gordon who had some different demons as it pertains to certain illicit drugs, if you will, who's already probably is going to be back in the league, maybe even before, and he's already reinstated, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's a wait and see. Obviously, training camp's about to kick off. There's really not a reason. We talked about it yesterday. The Cowboys literally have their total number of players at 79 with the open roster spot for Randy Gregory to be reinstated. And at this point, the NFL needs to go ahead and stop passing the buck and just get it done and make sure it happens.
Especially, I want to use my Madden too, BJ. I want to use Randy Gregory on Madden on August 25th. That's another thing. I got special plans for him.
Yeah, that 3-4. I hear you. I mean, everyone's kind of itching for that right now, coming around the corner. So, yeah, let me kind of jump into the comment section real quick. They were popping up, and now they're kind of stalled on us a little bit. It says, they can't figure out Barry Gibson in the building. What's going on? The Cowboys Unifier said they can't figure out Rona much. Let's keep up with their inboxes. NFL is AFU. Yeah. I mean, fair. Very, very, very fair. Alan checking in saying, if players opt out, what happens to the salary cap for this year, especially with the fullback opting out? Spoon, you actually posted something about that in the group today, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, they so right now with the opt out and the releases, the Cowboys was able to get about close to $3 million in cap space. So add on to what they currently have with his which is about $9 million, they got about 12 and a half to almost a 13 million cap space. So
Yeah,
again, just like last year when they had 20, they got carry over to the next season or use it.
right. I mean, it's a little bit of funny money because come next season, the contracts kick back in and that money
Right.
kind of disappears. So if they wanted to use it on like a 1-year deal and then that rolls off and then it goes back to the players that originally left, then they could do that.
Right.
So I mean, it's there, but it's kind of funny money at the
Right.
end of the day as it pertains to the extra money with these players that are opting out for sure.
Right.
But anyways, though, Gregory obviously frustrated as we talked about. Got into it with NFLPA Joe Briggs back and forth on Twitter. Obviously, he dropped a soliloquy, if you will, about how he's feeling and ready to, and he's chopping at the bit. And we'll see if maybe something comes of that. We got a couple of days left before the weekend. You know, if you don't get it done by Friday, we ain't going to hear nothing until Monday. NFL front office, head office is going home. They're not doing anything else. But we had a little bit more. I mean, Twitter's a fascinating place, my friend.
Yes, it is.
We had a little Zeke versus Ed Werder today. A little Zeke versus Ed Werder. Ed Werder went out here and tweeted that. Let me pull that up. That was fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, I like this. I do like this a little bit. Ed Werder tweeted out that where does this? He was talking about the Dallas Cowboys with the expectation of 3,000-yard receivers, which we talked about yesterday. So Ed Werder kind of quote tweeted that and said, where does this expectation leave Ezekiel Elliott in terms of his role? His reduction is essentially, in my mind, but Mike McCarthy earned a reputation in Green Bay for putting his full faith in the QB. Didn't take Zeke long to respond to that. Zeke bounced back with, we all going to eat, in all caps on the eat part. Don't try to start that messy poop emoji. Within, Ed Werder also fired back, said, I'm just a guy suggesting you have a seat at the head of the table. Ed Werder, right? No accustomed to saying certain things, and as it pertains to the Cowboys and kind of getting the mix. You know, I mean, you can talk about the times when T.O. was here, some of the things he reported, some of the things with Dez that he reported. He always likes to kind of stir the pot a little bit, and these players know who likes to stir the pot as well. And I thought it was pretty big that Zeke's the one that came out immediately and said, "Hey, don't even start that." You know, it wasn't one of the wide receivers that had come out there with some of the 1,000 yards. It was Zeke in general, and I definitely like that. You, sir, Mr. Spooney. What would you like to say, Mr. Ed Werder?
Oh, well, what I really want to say, but I know it's only 8:34 my time, and I know there's kids up probably watching this show. So normally I'll give Funky about 9 p.m. my time to really say what I really want to say to Ed Werder. But I'll keep it PG right now. I'll keep it cool. I'm gonna say this. He is a hole. You know what I'm saying? He's always been. He's always had started issues with the players in the locker room by growing craziness. He loves that. I can remember the thing with the Terrell Owens, Romo, and Witten with the BFF situation. He's a problem guy. He's a problem guy, and that's their job. This is what they get paid to do. Sometimes you got to start problems, you got to start trouble, and lie just to get information from the player themselves. And again, it's very tiring. A lot of players don't want to deal with that. Some guys can't just shut up. It's not that easy to say, hey, just don't read the article, don't do anything, because right now on social media you find out everything out, and the information gets out there so quickly. You can get tagged and whatever, and you're gonna look at it. So you're gonna get a response from a player automatically. But this is something special about Dallas going on, and instead of Ed Werder talking about how special the offense can be, hey, maybe say, let's compare it to the Rams, the Kurt Warner Rams with the Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Yazzie Kim.
Yeah, that SEO, baby.
Yeah, give Star Gang a shout out about the SEO, something like that. What you want to do is you want to put something negative out there and act as if Zeke Elliott is not part of the offense. He's, end of the day, Ed Werder, last season we had potentially 3,000-yard receivers, right? We still had Zeke had over 1,500 yards rushing last year.
No, it wasn't quite that much, but still.
Over 1,000 yards. Okay, he had over 1,000 yards rushing. You had 2 receivers over 1,000. We had 1 receiver about 800. He dropped some balls that could have went over 1,000. Right. What's the issue?
Yeah.
What's the issue?
Right. And of course, and look, the media, they have a job to do. We kind of understand that. There are certain guys that don't do their job that way. Unfortunately, Ed Werder has a history of trying to stir the pot to get things going, to create news, instead of maybe get a scoop or different things of that ilk. So I thought it was big of Zeke to come out and say that and handle it that way, and to nip it in the bud for us old heads out here. Zeke kind of came out there and just nipped it in the bud and said, "Nah, that's not what we're going to do. That's definitely not what we're going to be about." And again, Zeke was over 1,000. Dak, if it went for a couple of drops, would be over 5,000. You had 2,000-yard receivers, and you had a third guy that was over 800 yards. So just plenty of balls to go around to where Zeke's going to be the prominently, head of the table, however you want to call that. But I mean, the back door of Ed Werder, kind of with the idea that Mike McCarthy likes to put all the faith into the quarterback and whatnot. Well, let's be clear. If we look at Mike McCarthy's career, he's never had a running back like Zeke either. So it's kind of premature to say, well, they're going to, and Ed Werder, kind of in those characters that he talks about on Twitter, saying that, well, in his eyes, if it's 3,000-yard receivers, then there ain't going to be no room here left for Zeke and what he's going to do, and presuming off of what Mike McCarthy did in Green Bay. But again, there's never been a Zeke-type back for McCarthy to have to mess with.
Here's the thing, BJ. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this with great feelings. Mike McCarthy never had a top running back like Zeke. Respect to James Starks and the other big fella he had over there from Bama. He's never had a talented trio of wide receivers like Coop, Gallup, and Lamb. Even though Lamb hasn't played, you right there have 2 first-round receivers, right? That Cooper was a top pick number 6 in the NFL draft. Lance was supposed to be a top 5 pick that, thankfully, he came over to number 17. And Michael Gallup, we both said, BJ, we said it. Could have been the first-round pick if he played in the SEC. So you got 3 talented wide receivers, right? Okay, let's go to tight end. Okay, Blake Jarwin, he's we don't know too much. We see some glimpse out of him, what he can be, right?
Right, see flashes.
But now compared to what he's had in the past with Mike McCarthy, I mean, I can recall maybe Bubba Franks from Miami Hurricanes back in the day, decent, and then my guys played for the Saints. He left as free agent. So the tight end has been decent. But another key thing, he's never had a team leader at quarterback. I'm throwing some darts right there. He's never had a team leader at quarterback.
I don't know. We have Brett Favre.
I said it.
Okay,
I'm saying it.
saying it. I'm going to disagree a little bit on the Brett Favre. I mean, now you can talk about the.
I'm sorry. It's not from Brett. It's not from Brett. The other guy.
Very different from Aaron Rodgers. I mean, however he puts people off. And of course, back to something that you hit on, Eddie Lacy. When they did have Eddie Lacy and he was in shape, I mean, he fed him the rock plenty. So yeah, the idea that we're trying to stir this. I mean, my gosh, guys, we haven't even had one training camp yet. And I mean, not one practice yet, right? Not one practice. And here's Werder out here trying to stir the pot already with where's Zeke going to be, with this offense. And I mean, again, simply you could just look at the offense last year before, McCarthy got here and look at the numbers. Looks like Zeke will be just fine in this offense, if not even better. I appreciate Zeke coming out and saying what he had to say, but Man, it was. Again, Werder, and look, and respect Werder. He's been in the game a long time, right? Long time. He's been in the game a long time. Hey, man, he's been in the game a long time. But I don't know how you can sit there and say that and say, well, Zeke should be at the head of the table. All these different things that he did today on Twitter about what's going to happen with this. And you could easily just look at last season and how it panned out anyways. It was a weird take from Ed, but I get it. Trying to stir that old pot.
Yeah, just the pot. I mean, that's our job. We stir the pot, not your job. But again, at the end of the day, it's like I always say, when it all goes down to it, this is what everybody does. He likes to. You got to put something out there that's gonna get somebody's attention and create debates. It may create some animosity towards the team itself. And thankfully, I like the way Zeke came out and spoke about it. Because at the end of the day, just to come out and say we all gonna eat. Listen, we want to win. That's the thing. We want to win. They all have one common and goal. All this with the CeeDee Lamb, like the questions with Marty Cooper, with CeeDee Lamb, like them drafting, like you're basically trying to say that they don't believe in you. No, and I love what Marty Cooper said. He nipped in the butt. He goes, "You're supposed to take the best player in your draft pick. You're supposed to. That's normal. And they pick a great player, and we're gonna be fine." I love that. Yeah. He nipped it right in the butt.
Right.
Carry on. But meanwhile, I mean, there's other teams in the league that got a trio of stars, and maybe not enough balls to go around, but you won't go to them. This is why we are America's team. This is why we are America's team.
Let me jump into these comments real quick. Nelson's in the building. Thank you for tuning in. Tristan Todd's in the building as well. Marcus, I see you. Gallup is an early second for sure. Chop's in the building. Jermaine Chop, what's going on, brother? My other guy, a local guy, my guy Wood, my boy Danny is in the building. Buddha had a semi-comment here, and I want to tackle this real quick. It says, why is practice starting so late if they're starting the season on time? We usually put on the pads already. That was part of it. And here's the thing. I got the answer for that, Buddha. Basically, when they were negotiating this COVID situation, how they were going to handle training camp, this is what was negotiated. Pads don't come on until August 17th. That's just kind of, every single time. And one of the things I always, pound the table for the players, anytime it's any kind of negotiation with the league, they always just settle for less padded and less practices. And I'm always like, no, go after the money, But in this COVID situation, that's what they ended up agreeing to. Okay, we're not putting the pads on to the 17th, which here's the thing. Without the OTAs, without being able to come into off-season workout programs and stuff like that, I will say it does make sense. Ease them back into this. We don't want to see a bunch of soft tissue injuries right away, which I still think there's going to be a ton of those things happen for sure. Because what we will find out is the players that really did stay training and the players that didn't. We're going to find out really quick early on in these camps, and once these injuries start piling up. But again, part of the COVID negotiations for them to do the training camp and what was going to happen. That's why the practices are starting so late, and that's why the pads don't come on till the 17th. But yeah, the soft tissue injuries, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready. I'm definitely nervous. Again, sorry about right now we're having a little technical difficulties with the comments. I can't get them up on the screen, but I'm definitely going to grab them out here and definitely respond to y'all in the comment section because I can see those on the phone for sure, guys. Sorry about that. But yeah, Spoon, training camp. As we were just talking back, and we'll piggyback here off of Buddha. Mm-hmm. Going to find out pretty quick.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna find out pretty quick. I'm right now. It's kind of boring, with the COVID test. I mean, thankfully, the great news always here is that there's a certain team like the Dallas Cowboys today was reported nobody came up positive. So that's going to a positive health first, and then we're gonna have fun later on. So they're gonna tackle this thing during the week. Once the opt-out deadline, which is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Once that comes over with, then on top of that, next week they're gonna start off with the practice, padded practice. Normally these are the times where we're seeing some type of fans at practice, letting us know what's going on, what battles X, Y, and Z, and it's gonna be boring because I don't know how the procedure is gonna be where as they practice. Will they allow to have a media or two, to take some shots of what's going on in practice and stuff like that, or any type of live like they normally would do in the past? I do know the blue and white scrimmage is August 30th, and I circled that on my calendar as if that's a big event because it's always been big. I was fortunate to go to training camp myself in 2016 when I saw the blue and white scrimmage. I was there for training camp. Had a blast. And I tell every Cowboy fan this: next year I'm planning on going to the training camp, and you got to at least try to go at least once, at least once. It's an incredible experience. Fans come together, we talk, we have our own opinions. It's amazing. But like every team, it's gonna be kind of tough to adjust to. There will be some soft tissue injuries, like BJ just said. Hopefully, nothing major, and hopefully, we have the depth that we have the next man up to step up if that needs to happen, and we go on the roll.
And I mean, and that's the crazy thing too. Our first padded practice is on the 17th, right? And then just 13 days, not even a full 2 weeks later, we're in a scrimmage. That's the man. That is so wonky to a certain extent. Real quick, I see Steven Torres is tuned in. Thank you for tuning in, Torres. Appreciate you as always. Give it a like, give it a share. Also YouTube, and keep plugging that. We're on live YouTube right now. Make sure you go over there, sub. I got the link up on the page and the. Oh, no, excuse me. I got it up on the group. Excuse me. You can go over there, like, sub, hit the notification bell for us as well. Let me get a couple of these comments too. Chop checking in saying, I want to see Zeke and Pollard in the backfield more with Dak and a gun in a 3-wide. Maybe a little pistol look, huh? A little pistol action. A little pistol. That's going to take your – now that's you're probably going to take your tight end maybe off the field there a little bit. But, I mean, again, the more – look, if Pollard had, what was it, 8? Was it 8 touches? They were undefeated last year. Food for thought. In every game that Pollard had 8 touches or more, they were undefeated. Tristan said, I'm worried about injuries for the team. I think the word of attrition is always real every single season, right? The more you can be healthy, the better chance you have. And it's going to be, again, we're going to find out who was really keeping themselves in shape during this time, but they couldn't come to the facilities and who wasn't. Hopefully they can, these teams got to be smart, take the right approach, make sure that they ease these guys into this before they just ramp all the way up. But again, as we're talking about, the first padded practice being on the 17th and then turn around 13 days later having a scrimmage, not a lot of time to get ready. You can only kick the can down the road so much until you got to gear up and just go. Is the big thing. It says, and then Buddha says, if you're a cornerback or a right defensive end, you can't get hurt. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of competition to be had as it pertains to the Cowboys. When it's going to get in the training camp in those particular positions, like for sure, like a Dorrance Armstrong cannot get hurt. Dorrance Armstrong gets hurt, that might cost him a roster spot. You kind of look at some of these guys on 1-year deals at the cornerback position, could cost you a spot there as well. Because I'll tell you right now, CJ Goodwin's going to be on this team. Forget anybody else at corner, just for what he does on special teams. And look, he had a good training camp last year, and he had some good games in preseason as well. But yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't get hurt. It could definitely cost you a roster spot moving forward, But that's what we're here for camp, and we're ready to kind of see those things. I'm going to be intrigued to see, as they kick this thing off, what are they doing? The 7-on-7 stuff, the individual drills and how they're going to get these guys to compete in such a different manner. Because, I mean, no matter what it was leading into this camp, it was going to be different because we have a new staff. Well, now, combined with the new staff, we're also going to have ramping up so quickly, with everything that's going on, without the OTAs and different things we could have, how they're going to handle this thing moving into the padded practices, into the blue and white scrimmage, and then obviously onto, was it September 5th, as we go face the Rams.
Right. Yeah, listen, it's going to be a fun. I'm sure it's going to be a fun camp. A lot of these guys get out from where they come from and get inside, get up in that competition, playing the sport that they love, have fun. You're going to have a lot of the young players motivated, knowing that there's a spot available, that they can go after that spot, especially the secondary. So I really, what I really love too is that we never had a real solid number 2 quarterback, right?
Uh-huh.
For the second squad. And I like that with Andy Dalton because guess what? Your receivers can respond better.
Better, right?
Well, you're gonna have pretty much good rhythm against the secondary, and you're gonna see the best out of everybody. It won't be because this guy is not a good quarterback. He's not really his awareness is not that good. So you're gonna have 2 stud quarterbacks. With team 1 and team 2, you're gonna have your CeeDee Lamb in some team 1s and in team 2, and you're gonna have the secondary who's gonna battle out against those guys too. So you're gonna have some real good competition, and all that would do is show who does what. And I love that. I really, really do love that, and it's gonna be fun. A good thing about this too is that with Dak Prescott, he's already he knows the offense already, pretty much. He knows his guys. He knows the thing that they love to do X, Y, and Z. CeeDee Lamb, it's the extra season.
Got some comments to come back up. Now let's run through some of these questions real quick. Alan checking in and says, if Randy's not reinstated, what do we do with him? Do we sign Clay Matthews or Griffin on a 1 year with a future contract, 2 years, or let's see, with a future contract 2 years or more? Honestly, I don't think they're going to sign any. I don't think they're going to sign anybody right away. I think Randy's going to get reinstated. I think it's just antsy right now. But even if they don't, I think it would take another injury for them to bring somebody else in at the defensive end position. I don't know how you feel, Spoon, but that's kind of where I feel about it.
I think if they do bring somebody in, it won't be a big name guy. It'll be a journey guy. That's just the way they like to operate. That's one thing I can really say. I don't see a Clowney or Griffin coming in here, even though they are available, unless they say, "Hey, Steven, we'll play for $3 million." That's the only thing. I don't really see that. I see go off the guys who are journey guys. Maybe a guy like Ebenezer Ansah from Detroit. He's available. Matter of fact, he was visiting the 49ers the other day, and they signed Deion Jordan, who we had for visit, I think, last year or the year before. So I think he'll be a journey guy, not really a big name guy.
Yeah, I mean, another question I saw earlier. Hold on, let me see if I can find that real quick that I wanted to grab. Let's see, it looks like I can skip that one and get it up here. But let me throw it out there anyways. Is Cheeto a guaranteed starter? Small?
Oh, I'm gonna say either corner or safety. Yes, he is.
Okay. I mean, for me, I'll continue to pound the table. I don't want him to go to safety. I want him to be starting on the outside for us. But if he does move, I would have to think that he would be able to beat out Woods. I just do. I don't know. I mean, I just think he would. So I'm going to go with yes. Cheeto will be a starter, whether it's at corner or safety. I'm begging the table for it being at cornerback for sure. But yes, I think Cheeto's definitely going to be a starter. Let's grab another question here. Tristan Sott said, does the pandemic hurt the rookies and players like Alden Smith? I mean, for sure it hurts the rookies because they haven't been able to get together and even do OTAs and walkthroughs. You can do it. I mean, look, you can have the virtual things that are going on and have those conversations. And we know about the field that Dak built. And, obviously we know that CeeDee Lamb went out there and worked with, Cooper and those guys. We've seen that Diggs was out there in Florida working with his brother, Stephon Diggs, and whatnot. And all that's good. I mean, they're getting in work. They're getting in reps. But you're not around your guys, though. So, it does. Like Alden Smith, to me, Spoon, I don't think it hurts him either way. He's been out of the game for 5 years. What do you think?
Nah, not at all. I think Alden's going to be fine. It's just for him to get used to the speed again. How fast he get used to the speed, how fast he adjusts, and I think he'll be fine. As far as the rookies, I'm gonna say this. I give props to you. Got to give props to guys like Dak Prescott. He, a lot of times when during the off season, remember we used to have the training camps in May, right? But it wasn't guaranteed. So you had guys who would come. And guys who didn't have to come was fine. But then when it was a break, you would have guys set up meetings just to practice with each other on their own. Dak Prescott built up a field in his backyard. That means privacy. That means there's no media or fans coming in. No, there's no trespassing. You're in Dak's house,
right?
And to do that, you know what's at stake. You know you want to get your guys ready because it's going to come through. You know, and that's what I love about it. So for the Cowboys, I'm going to say no, it won't be a problem. Everybody else, I can't really speak for.
You know, I mean,
I think,
I think. Well, we heard things like Tom Brady getting the guys together and throwing to him and stuff like that. I mean, as it pertains to the wide receiver core and the tight ends, and I'm sure running backs as well. I think they're out there working and everything. But then you look at someone like Tyler Badaz. I mean, I'm sure he wasn't out there. You look like Bradley and we saw some of the defensive linemen together as well, like Gallimore. Woods, right? Yeah, they're on the sand. So we know certain guys have clicked up and worked together. But again, when you're not in the OTs, you're not around the coaches, and you're not in the building, it's just different, right? It's just a little different. Right. So for the rookies, absolutely, I think it definitely puts them behind the 8 ball. I really do. But got to catch up quick. That's part of the game, though. You're a professional now. You have to deal with these kind of things. Boom. Oh, get your crystal ball out here, Spoon. This is a little bit down the line a little bit. EJ's in the building. Thank you for tuning in. David, I see you as well. Alfonso, thank you as well. Hall, I see you as well. Thank you for tuning in. Give it a like, give it a share. Does Gallup get re-signed, or will they try to trade him to get value if he doesn't re-sign? We're about 2 years away from that, right? He's going into his 3rd year. Right, and we have him for a 4th year. No 5th year because he wasn't a first-round pick. But the old caveat to all this is Amari Cooper's deal, right? Because right whenever Gallup still is up, Cooper's deal can be got out of without any dead money. They have that little window between June 1st to June 6th where they can get out of Cooper's deal, and it won't cost them any money whatsoever. Although by the time you get there, his deal's going to look like peanuts compared to the rest of the league anyways. I think they're going to try to keep the trio together as long as they can. Now, how feasible and how long they can do that, I don't know. But I think at the end of the day, it's way too early to call this thing. Obviously, things have to play out with CeeDee Lamb and injuries and all this kind of stuff. I think in a perfect situation, I think it's CeeDee Lamb and Gallup for the long term. And I think Cooper after 2-3 years will be set on his way. What do you think, Spoon?
Oh, listen, I can't agree with you anymore. I believe in star games. When I jumped on the CeeDee Lamb train with you, I came out and said, if it would be smart for them to go up and maybe move up and get a receiver, because at the end of the day, Gallup's deal is almost up. So I said, I remember we had a scenario. Well, what happened to Gallup if we got to see the line, which we did? It's gonna be. It depends. Let's say if a team after this year, a team is willing to give maybe a 1st-round pick for Michael Gallup's services. You know, Steve is like, well, I got Amari Cooper here, I got CeeDee Lamb here. We could draft another receiver. You can do that. Let's just say Amari Cooper's not playing so well, and in the 2 years you get off his deal. Well, just get out of his deal and give the money to Gallup. I mean, I don't think Gallup will cost about $20 million like Cooper, but it'll be about between 16 and 20 around that. Who knows?
It'll be. I guarantee it'll be up by then.
Okay, all right. I mean, again, you have, and then another thing, CeeDee Lamb. We all know that a lot of these rookie receivers, they try, rookie players, they trying to get paid in their 3rd year, 3rd or 4th. You're not waiting for the 5th year option. Right. So that's another thing. You may have to pay CeeDee Lamb a little bit earlier than that 5th year contract. Don't think that because he's a 5th year deal, they can wait that long.
But again, but that still lines up with the Amari Cooper outskis, though. So there's
right, that exactly. So it's a lot. And it's a great question because that's something that needs to be answered soon. This question right here is going to be the same question for the next 3 years until we see what actually happened. We have to think outside the box sometimes. So I think it all depends what scenario comes, what situation comes our way, and Stevie Jones makes that decision. Right. Like I said, I really will hope if a team says, "Hey, listen, give us Gallup or give you a first-round pick," who knows? He may jump on that.
It's very true. It's very true. Again, great news is for 2 years we don't have to worry about it. For 2 seasons, right. We're good. This year and next year, we're good. And then we can worry about that a little bit down. We kind of kick the can again. That's my right. This show's been brought to you by kicking in cans down the road a little bit is what it is. Spoony, let me ask you this one. Who is the player that needs to bounce back? Keith, thank you for tuning in. Give it a like, give it a share. But who is the player that on this roster as we're going into this season that needs to bounce back?
I was going to say Xavier Woods, but he never even bounced forward for me to say I could bounce back. No disrespect to Tuck if he's watching. That's his safety. To bounce back. That's a good one. You know what? I'll say Alden Smith.
Okay. I mean, he's been out the league for 5 years. I mean, obviously,
if it's somebody currently on this team, it's LVE.
Yeah, I mean, LVE being healthy for the season for sure will go a long ways. Absolutely. Right. Because even as he left, some people kind of consider, even though he was still a Pro Bowler, that, Jalen Smith wasn't the same last year, right? And right. For me, when it gets to that, well, Jalen Smith was just asked to do a little too much, right? And he kind of got out of position here and there. So I do agree. LVE being healthy and bouncing back would be huge. I'm gonna spin, even though I don't harp on him, because again, the thing about D-Law is he's a complete guy. Right. Look at his tackles behind the line of scrimmage last year were up. Against the run, he was up, but he's got to get to the quarterback more though. Right. For D-Law, I'd like to see D-Law kind of come back to form, getting to the quarterback. Keep doing the things that he did even last year with tackles behind the line of scrimmage. The way he plays the run, he's not like a Chandler. No disrespect to Chandler over there in Arizona. He's a sack artist. Not to say he's terrible against the run and everything, but he's not a complete defensive end that DeMarcus Lawrence is, right? And we just need to, need to see DeMarcus Lawrence definitely take that step back. I need that old Euro step cut with the arms and getting to that quarterback a little bit again. I do think for sure, no matter who you pick, it should probably be on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, for sure.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Listen, we had a couple people answer the question. My boy, what's going on over there in Oklahoma, says DeMarcus Lawrence. Brian Bubble, you already know I got to give it to him one time. Beer gang in the building. LVE. Renee says Jalen Smith. Fair enough. And then, of course, Marcus checking in. LVE as well. And that's the thing. As they were talking about Jalen Smith there, I mean, the thing about Jalen was, if LVE doesn't go out, we probably won't talk about Jalen needing to bounce back, right? But once LVE left, there was some struggles there as it pertains to Jalen. So I can't be mad at that. And this one, who knows? I'm saying no, he's not a guard. At the end of the day, I've been saying it. I've been on record for over a year now. Connor Williams' best position is right tackle. We've tried him. He's not a guard. He's not. He doesn't put on the weight. He's not strong enough. He's just not a guard, in my opinion. I pray that the other Connor is going to walk through that door and be the guy that we wanted him to be from Purdue that we drafted, or maybe Looney ends up getting that spot. I just don't think. I mean, if Connor wins the position, just hold on to your, fasten your seatbelt, because I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I would love for him to walk through the door. I mean, we spent a second round pick. I would love for him to walk through that door and be a guard. But to me, I just think at the end of the day, he's a tackle. Spoon, can Connor Williams elevate his play?
He can in a different position. I think Joe Philbin, who is a very good offensive line coach, recognizable coach in the offensive line position too for years. If anybody look him up in Wikipedia, you can see offensive line. That's been his main thing until he became a head coach for Miami Dolphins. I think Philbin is going to probably change his position into tackle and see how he does. Maybe even a backup left tackle. Who knows?
We'll see. I mean, we'll see. But see, Spun, I disagree because if they were going to do that, they would have went and got Cam Irving. Cam Irving's going to be the swing tackle.
That's true too.
And they've already talked about it. Connor's going to battle for the guard position. Period. So, I mean, I'm with you though.
Yeah, he's not a guard in my opinion.
Yeah, if they want to move him, definitely. Oh, somebody's in my wheelhouse here. Hall's in my wheelhouse here. He's in my wheelhouse. You already know. Hashtag Team Jelks. Hashtag. Where's my boy Mendoza? Get that hashtag up for me, Mendoza. Do you think Joe Jackson or Jelks makes this team? Man, I am all in on. I was all in on Jelks last year. I am still all in on Jelks, especially with us maybe playing that hybrid, a little 3-4. I keep telling people, man,
listen,
he is Jason Taylor 2.0 from the build, and I think he's got some juice. Man, I am Team Jelks, 10 toes down. I am Team Jelks. I think Joe Jackson's definitely got a good opportunity to make this team as well. He's going to have to, it might come down to him and Dorrance Armstrong who makes this team. Possibly that might be the battle right there. But yeah, Jelks all day, every day. I am Team Jalen Jelks all day, every day. Wheelhouse, thank you. You set me up a softball right there. Let me get it out of here. Go ahead, Smoke.
Hey, Shaitan, I'm going to say this. Now, we drafted Jelks, in the 5th, 6th round, I believe. That was in Texas, right? Now, you got to be a real draft heavy person. Like I know me and BJ and Mary are, and still be in that stadium watching the NFL draft, right? A lot of folks are out. They only care about the first 2 rounds or the first 3 rounds. We in there to the end. Your man here, BJ Nix, all right, is yelling and screaming about Jalen Jelks in Texas after the game. I mean, after the draft. Watch kid Jelks. I said, all right, BJ, it's competition. He's a low. We got to see what happens. No, watch him. I'm telling you, this for years. Now, I didn't doubt him on this one because with Blake Jarwin was the same situation, and he's been on Blake Jarwin, for years. So as I see what happened with Blake Jarwin, I'm going to say this. Jelks going to win this job. He has to win this job for BJ. He's going to win this job.
He's got the talents there.
Yeah, in Oregon, some very good tape. Very, very good tape. Matter of fact, Jalen Jelks I think he got engaged to his girlfriend who came from Oregon, who's a woman NBA now. She just got drafted. That's mad cool.
I'm telling you, I'm
moving for Jelks.
I'm big on Jelks. My guy said, my girl's an OU fan, and I like LSU. Pretty tense household, but CD being drafted to the Cowboys has helped ease that tension a bit. Well, good. Wow. There you go. Hey, look. I love it. I love it when football can bring a couple together. Yeah. How great is that, guys? Yeah. Just bringing them together. Bringing them together. And, of course, I'll check it back in saying exactly because we don't really know what Alden is going to give us. And I do agree there. But if you haven't heard us before, I'm on record. If Alden can give us 70% of what he was before he left the game, man, we are in great shape. We are in great shape. And, of course, my bearded brother says, don't sleep on Jelks. You're damn right. You don't sleep on Jelks. I like Armstrong, but, he's one of those guys that might get lost in the mix here a little bit because he was last regime's guy. He's got to come in and show out, and it's going to be hard to a certain extent just because we don't know how this training camp's going to go. But he's got to, I think, again, him and Joe Jackson, I think, are going to be in a pretty heated battle. That's what I kind of think, feeling on the outside getting into this thing. But we'll see. I like Armstrong as well. Yeah, 7th round Halls whenever we took Jelks. You're correct on that. Spoony, you're special because Spoony, I think you got about 4 of them, right? Well, any undrafted guys make the roster. My guy from TCU is definitely making the roster.
Suwo. Yeah. Listen, I got, of course, Francis Bernard, the linebacker.
Hey, and say his last name with respect. Alana Lua. Alana Lua. There we go.
So I got Suwo. Suwo is one, of course.
Yeah.
Francis Bernard, the linebacker. Same school as Bradley and Nay. They both, one played middle, one played outside.
Obviously, and let's be clear, why Francis maybe didn't get drafted, even has great tape. He's only about 6 feet tall for a linebacker. He's a little small for a
Right.
linebacker. So that's kind of the reason
Right.
if people kind of look at the tape and you kind of look at the stats and say, man, why did he get drafted? Size was the issue when it comes to Bernard. Go ahead, though.
Right. So I got Sewell, Francis Bernard. I like Carter, the defensive line.
He's got some juice to him.
Was that?
He's got some juice to him.
Yeah, I really like Rondell Carter, and he was the highest paid undrafted free agent, and a lot of teams were after him, but the Cowboys gave him the most money, so he went there. Good rotation, so I really rooting for him to see what's he about. Same school as Ben DiNucci too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3 right there. Luther Kirk, the safety.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at in that secondary it's gonna be so much competition, especially at that safety spot. I think they're pretty much locked. Got it locked down the most. Other than that, between Woods, Luther Kirk, maybe Jalen Thompson. I'm assuming Evan Thompson. That's gonna be a battle right there. So I'm saying 3. 4 is Luther Kirk, maybe as a backup.
So none of the wide receivers.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh,
my boy. Oh, I'm sorry. Kendrick Rogers, the wide receiver, out of A&M. That's my 4th receiver. That's my number 4th receiver right there. Okay. The big boy.
Man, here's the thing, and here's what I balance when it comes to the undrafted guys. Man, if you got 4 or 5 undrafted guys making your team, you're in a bad position. To be honest. And look, I know maybe it's a little bit different, right? Because we're getting a new regime in here, right? But when we start talking about 4 or 5 undrafted guys making the team, even though we do have expanded rosters now, man, it makes me pause a little bit. It makes me pause. I definitely. It doesn't.
See, like fullback with Sewell, it's because what Mike McCarthy does with his fullback. It's not like that traditional. Johnson is blocks. It's more of another weapon.
Yeah,
I like that. That's your boy. I like that. 4th receiver is Kendrick Rogers. That's not bad.
Yeah.
See,
to me, I think the opportunity is 3. Is the max. Okay. I think the fullback, Alanalua is penciling in. He's here. I definitely believe he's here. I do think Rogers makes this team, especially with Guthrie getting up out of here, right?
Yes.
And leaving the building, opting out. And John V. Johnson's got to walk through the door. But if it comes up to say a John V. Johnson from the last squad and Rogers, I think they're going to take the guy that they wanted, right? We know coaches want their guys. And then I think, and then when I look at as far as depth goes, right? I look at depth. I think there's 2 spots on defense. And look, as much as I love Carter, I just don't. I think he's going to the practice squad. I just think that's where he's headed, right? Sue me, but I think Kirk has the best chance because there's not much depth at safety right now, and then that's going to be followed by Bernard because we don't have a lot of depth at linebacker either. It's kind of where I'm at. So, at the end of the day, I just don't. Yeah, I don't. 3 max is where I'm at on undrafted guys making this team, and that's because one's going to be the fullback for sure.
My thing with Rondell Carter is this. I can see them trying to let go of Joe Jackson and Dorrance Armstrong. I can see that happening.
Both those guys got some game to them, though, Spoon. I don't think
they do. Well, Dorrance, they do. Joe played little snaps in there.
Yeah.
Dorrance remain back for a minute now. But I could definitely see them pushing one or both out for a guy like Rondell. Again, like Rondell, he's like another Tyron Crawford, very flexible, inside, outside. He could do a lot. And again, teams went after him hard. I wouldn't want to put him in that practice squad and then all of a sudden, bam, somebody snatches him.
Yeah.
So I can see them try to push it, but it's going to be interesting because again, with this new defense and that front 7, whatever scheme they're going to run, it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to do that.
And I think a lot of people got to look at it like this. I get it. Stephen Jones came out and said he wants to add 1 or 2 pieces. I think a lot of people are looking like they want to add some people to the squad. Hey, whoever you add from this point forward, somebody's getting cut. And if you add something to that defensive line, then a Carter's gone, or a Dorrance Armstrong's gone, or a Joe Jackson's gone, even a Jalen Jelks. Scary. I know, scary. But I mean, if we add something to those positions, you're going to see somebody get gone. I mean, look, low key, even if you add a linebacker, or even if you added a safety, I think they're going to go to the line where we have the most depth down there and probably get rid of somebody. So we have to kind of keep those things in mind, like adding a player, especially let's shoot for the moon. And we're doing a 1-year rental, whatever cup of ice cream you like. Griffin or Clowney, right? It's a 1-year rental. It's all it's going to be, and you're getting rid of somebody that's going to be dirt cheap and here for X amount of years on a lower contract. And you have to kind of think about those things when we're building this team together. So, like I said, to me, I'm going to top out at 3 undrafted guys making this team. I don't know if it'll be 3, but I'll give it up to 3 and then kind of see what happens from there. Again, if we get it to 4 or 5 undrafted guys making this team, a little scary for me, a little scary for what I think, for sure. We got this one right here from Hall. It says, so who's the 4 or 5 wide receivers that makes it? Well, I think the real question is going to be 5 or 6, but we know the 3, right? We know the top 3, right? We know it's Lamb, or as my guy EJ, who's in the building, said, Lamb God, Cooper and Gallup.
Right.
And then what do you like? What do you like after that? We talked about Rodgers, right? We like Rodgers, right? We'd like to see him in the building. Is he ready to be the number 4? A lot of people like Devin Smith. He showed little glimpses last year.
Right.
Is he ready to be the number 4? Jon'Vea Johnson has some juice to him. But he's got to step through that. He's got to walk through that door and show maybe a little bit better hands than what he had in preseason last year. We kind of dealt with drops all during the year anyways. So yeah, man, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. If I had to pick 5 right now going into this thing, give me the big 3. Give me Cedric Wilson and give me the undrafted guy from A&M.
Yeah, I like Kendrick and Rodgers at 4, of course. The 5th spot could be between Ventel Bryant and your boy Cedric Wilson. And another thing, Cedric Wilson has been, he's been the guy that has not caught a break, and for a big receiver, he can return kicks. He's a solid returner. That's another thing. So again, McCarthy, looking at history, he loves big receivers.
Yeah,
he loves big receivers. So those are the guys that come off my head just as well.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting battle for sure. And no, Jose, we're not trying to add anyone. I'm letting people know if they want to add someone where we sit at on this. I know Spoon's always trying to add somebody, but I'm letting people know, hey, where this roster is at 79, with the idea that Randy Gregory is coming back to make the 80. Anybody that you bring in, somebody's got to get up out the door ASAP. So no, definitely not trying to add anybody in here right now. Leon Cook's in the building. Thank you for tuning in. Jose, obviously, you just chimed in. Thank you for tuning in as well. Norab, thank you. Give it a like, give it a share, jump in the group. Eric MT's in the building. Gregory Davis is in the building. Man, we appreciate all the love and support. Again, we were shooting off the hoop, off the hip. FYI, if you missed it, you can go back a little earlier. We were talking about the Randy Gregory saga and what's going on with Randy Gregory, him actually getting out here and talking, put it out there why he hasn't been back in. Then obviously went back and forth on Twitter with the NFLPA rep, Biggs, and trying to get something done on that front. And then, of course, we also touched on Werder versus Zeke on Twitter. Werder out here talking reckless about Zeke's 3,000-yard receivers. What's that going to do for Zeke? Zeke obviously responded saying, get that out of here. Don't start that messy poop emoji. And then, of course, Werder bounced back with, I'm just trying to take it for the guy that should be sitting at the head of the table, yada, yada, yada. So, and as we got through that, now we're just talking about training camp. If you got any questions, any thoughts, whatever, shoot them out there. Let's get them up here on the board. We got about 10, 15 more minutes before we get out of here. Let me ask you this one, because this is the one I keep getting, even though we talked about it yesterday. And this is something that who knows, right? We're going to get it answered as this thing goes along. They call it, we've heard from the coaching staff, schemeless defense, hybrid defense, player over scheme, so on and so forth. But the question always comes to the forefront, and we try to do these projections for the final 55 and everything else. What are we doing? Is it going to be, put a percentage? Is it going to be 60-40? Is it going to be 70-30? What's going to be the percentage of 3-man fronts versus 4-man fronts?
That's a good one. I think you want to start off with the comfortability of what the players have been doing. I'm not saying that they can't do 3-4. I know, I believe I said this last night. When you're going from a 3-4 to a 4-3, it's easy. It's easier. When you go from a 4-3 to a 3-4, it's kind of harder because your number one pass rusher, can he really stand up? We've done in the past with I remember Greg Ellis, who we drafted out of North Carolina, and when Parcells came into the as a coach, he said he wanted to go 3-4. He basically changed up. He got rid of the linebackers, got rid of some of the defensive ends. Remember, we had Dexter Coakley and Darwin, but they were too small for the 3-4. So what did he do? He got the handbrakes. He got the I forgot my man's name out of Michigan that we drafted. I forgot his name.
Oh, then we also got go ahead.
So Greg Ellis, that was a challenge because he never stood up. Now he was decent. He didn't get he didn't play in the same production as M. He was just solid, but that's the adjustment part. So now when you look at Dallas, they pay big bucks to guys who know how to play the 3-4. D-Law experienced 3-4 in Boise State. Jalen Smith experienced 3-4 in Notre Dame. Right. So LVE 3-4 and Boise State this as well. So when you got your core guys that are able to stand, change the position, they play the position, they adjust quickly. They haven't done it in a while, but it's not like they don't know how to do it. They'll adjust very quickly. All the Smiths a plus. Play 3-4. Randy Gregory. I posted really early in Star game.
Yeah, they've done both. Yeah, they've done both.
Yeah, they've done both. So I'm going to say this. I'll say 60-40. 60% 4-3, 40% 3-4.
Here's what I really hope for at the end of the day is, and I actually, for those that wasn't here last night, I'm going to drop you what I said. If you were here last night, I'm going to repeat it. I'm hoping with this coaching staff, you're not going to know game to game. I think whoever they're playing, okay, they're going to look at them. Hey, do they show against the 4-3 or the 3-4? We have the scheme. We have the players to do either or, and that's what we're going to go do. And I think, and I'm hoping that's what they're going to do. It'll be week to week, depending on who we're playing. That's going to be the base scheme on a D line. It is 3-4-4-3. Now, the thing I will say at this point, I do think the 3-4 gives us more flexibility, only because you can put Poe at the 1. We've and something that kind of keys me in that we're going to do this because I can only go by the tea leaves. We've seen Gerald McCoy drop weight. The only reason he's dropping weight to me is to be that defensive end 3-4 in, and then we can see Crawford do that. And now the linebacker position looks a little bit different, right? Because now you got so many different edge guys that you can rotate in, right? And then you can kind of package the middle a little bit differently. I think that gives us a little bit more flexibility when it comes to that. But again, I'm hoping it's going to be game by game, depending on who it is. Hey, we might see a guy for 2-3 weeks be balling out, and then all of a sudden, all right, hey, different scheme, and then somebody else picks up the slack because this scheme works different, and he's coming the other way and kind of goes from there. I don't know. It's hard to put a number on it. You said 60-40. It might be 50-50. I don't know. It just kind of depends on. I hope they dictate. We're not going to do. We're not just going to walk our guys out there and be like, we are who we are. This is what we're doing, and it's here. But we got the dogs to beat y'all. I want it to be that we have the dogs to beat y'all, but we're going to put them in the best position to beat y'all as well. Is what we kind of look at as it pertains to that. Jose Santiago says the 4-down lineman might be the best fit for a whole D lineman room. Feel that. 3-down lineman allows us to have the best 11 on the field. There you go. Yep. Fair enough. Brian also checking in saying, I think it depends on who we are playing. Will depend if we are in the 4-3, the 3-4. Yeah, that's where I'm at, Brian, for sure. That's where I want it to be. Depending on the team that we're playing, who do they have what scheme do they have an issue with? Because we're hybrid enough to do either or. Back to what Jose even said there, right? Maybe 3-down lineman gets the best 11, but 4-down lineman might be the best fit for as a whole. So it'll be intriguing to see, what happens there? And then Hall checking in, Shatan Hall checking in, saying the secondary is only as good as the pass rush, period. We keep talking about what we need in the secondary, but the pass rush, but the pass rush has to definitely improve to see what we got. It's always what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? You know, the idea here that with this defense is we're going to press you. We're to give and look, and when you're able to press and press well, it gives your front seven more time to get to the quarterback. It's very hard for your D lineman to get to the quarterback whenever it's 3rd and 8 and you're 9 yards off the ball and giving up inside slants like we were all the time the last few years, right? So I mean they gotta they kind of got to work in tandem, but I do agree. You can't have big leaks in the secondary and think that the pass rush is going to be able to get there, and vice versa. The pass rush has to get home. They can't just sit there, let the pocket be there 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds and expect the secondary to continuously hold up against those kind of things. A little even balance. What do you think comes first, the chicken or the egg, Spoon? Which one? The chicken or the egg? Come on, what you got? Is it pass rush or secondary? Which one is it?
Oh, no, pass rush is always the key.
Pass rush is king. I like it.
Yeah, pass rush is always the key. It makes the secondary better. The problem is with the secondary is the awareness of the guys back there. My thing is that you're gonna have to have guys in good tight coverage, play smart. Sometimes not too aggressive to cause a penalty where it gives the opposing team some new downs and stuff like that. And in the end of the day, is you got to have guys who can react to that football. Again, when it comes to the pass rush, I'm cool. We're gonna be fine with the front seven. I have no issue with the front seven. You got dogs there.
And the scheme is going to predicate us blitzing a lot more.
Right. It's the secondary. It's the those are the guys that got me worried. You have a mix of rookies with veteran players who have not played their game the way they should be playing by now. So when you hold that in the mix together, it doesn't for me. It doesn't fit well with me at all. Ha is probably the most established player in that secondary right now. So hopefully with his leadership and mentor, he get these guys going. But that's my issue. It's not a dog back there. We know.
Right. EJ checking in saying whose hands do you have in the dirt in the 3-4 and who stands up? I mean, I think I just said it. I think Poet the nose tackle. Your ends are going to be Gerald McCoy and Crawford standing up on the edge. I think D-Law's going to be on one side. Pick your poison on the other side. Bradley Anae, Randy Gregory, Alden Smith. There can be a conglomerate of any of those three guys, and then in the middle. And look, and don't think about Jalen Smith even getting out there on the edge some too. Now, Jalen Smith could possibly get out there on the edge, and then in the middle it'll be a mix of Jalen Smith, LVE, and Sean Lee. I think that's how that's going to kind of roll if they're in the 3-4. Is kind of what I would look at. Donald Walker checking in says the defense is devoid of a playmaker. Getting Gregory back would be huge in the 3-4 scheme. What alternatives you guys see from an added addition? I mean, I just don't think they're going to add anybody, Donald, to be honest with you. I just don't think it's going to happen at this point. I think they're pretty much set. As we talked about yesterday, they're at 79 with the one spot available for Gregory to come in, and barring some type of injury, I don't think they're going to add anybody else to this thing. At the end of the day, D-Law has to be that playmaker. We talked about it a little bit earlier. If you just got here, the one guy that needs to have a bounce back year, even though D-Law is very good. He was still very good against the run on his side and had a lot of tackles for loss. He's got to get a little bit more pressure, get back to being that 10+ sack guy. On top of that, he's a all around. He's one of the best all around defensive ends. But he's got to get a little bit more pressure and get that kind of going again because he can be that dog for sure. And then look, and then of course, and the other, it's about 50-50. LVE being healthy is going to be huge for this defense as well. If he's healthy, he's back. It's going to make Jalen Smith just that much more effective and get him on the edge. So I think that's probably the biggest. And Gregory, look, he's done it with the hand in the ground and standing up, and getting Gregory back would be huge in the 3-4 for sure. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. uh, Jose Santiago with the in the old NFL, yes, pass rush made the difference, but I don't know in today's NFL. Patriots only pay secondary players. They let the Chandler Jones walk. They let Flowers walk, and so on. Tell me why is that? They kind of got their scheme. They kind of scheme guys to get to the quarterback though, and there's something within that. I think a lot of people don't talk about this when it comes to J.J. Watt. Not that he's not a great player, but the way that they scheme things for him, scheme him to get to the quarterback. That's why when you saw J.J. Watt get hurt, they kind of slid Jadeveon Clowney into his spot, and you saw Clowney's numbers kind of pop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's ways that they can kind of scheme things into that. Now, I'm with you. Secondary matters, but, I mean, hell, I mean, when it comes to turnovers, who's the last guy that had, 8+ interceptions in the year? Double digits. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, coverage matters. I don't disagree. Coverage definitely matters. But if you're able, and here's the thing, and Jose, and this is where we can go the chicken and the egg, right? If the coverage can give the defensive line an extra second to get to the quarterback, then you're cooking with something then, right?
Right. Bill Belichick, he's known for he loves coverage. He loves guys that can stay with the best of them. It does help out your defensive line plays, your front seven. And that's a great question too from Jose Santiago. Really great. It's a great thing because at the end of the day, this is a passing league, right? And we're seeing quarterbacks now that with the attempts per game is 3 times more than when it was back in the days. So, guys like Stephon Gilmore, all right, guys like Darrell Revis, he's always want a corner to take away at least one side of the field that keeps the quarterback looking one way. When a quarterback knows who's on that side, they already know who they're going to want to go to. So if that guy is doing his job, holding that receiver down, and the quarterback is looking one way, it's going to give the defensive line a little bit more time to get there because offensive line cannot hold for that long. If not, you're going to be causing a penalty. So it is a great way how Bill Belichick does. I mean, this is why he's one of the best in the game to do it. But at the end of the day, we're not blessed to have anybody in that secondary like that yet that we know of right now. Who knows on the line? The front seven, we're gonna have to get to that quarterback just to give the secondary more time. Because again, we have guys back there who we don't know about yet. It's a mix of guys we don't know.
Definitely got to let it play out. I mean, I think this is true not only for. I mean, great point here. DL should be better with better defensive play, defensive tackle play. I think that matters hugely for these linebackers as well. They'll finally get protected, man. They'll finally get the protection they need to be able to run clean sideline to sideline and make the plays that they need to make. So, yeah, I mean, we all. If you're a first time listener or you just started catching this, if you was with us all last preseason, we're like, bring us fatties. We need fatties, and we got 3 of them. Obviously, 2 of them are 1-year deals, but that boy Gallimore is going to be here for the next 4 for sure. And hey, maybe they bring a Poe, maybe they bring a Joe McCoy back. We'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, the beef that we have now at
it's building up.
Is amazing. And it should help against the run. I mean, we got gashed so much the past couple of years. I mean, C.J. Anderson, ladies and gentlemen, just tore us up in that playoff game up the middle. With Antron Woods having the bad shoulder that game, man, it was butterball.
And he would just sign that weekend. That week, that was disgusting.
Crazy,
so disgusting.
Yeah, Donald, we talked about this last night too, and they will be a surprise pick. Expecting big things to the pass rush from him. I think, and then back to the question earlier, does this hurt the rookies how everything's went? And I think that does, and the live bullets. I mean, I think he's going to show up. Again, the 40 time, again, the combine's a tricky thing, man. You can be a combine warrior and fly up the board and go in the first round and not be in the league in 2-3 years. Look at Obi, what's his last name? The other safety from UConn. They got drafted in the first round, and he's nowhere now, right?
Obi Melifonwu.
There you go. And then, of course, now you look at Ane, who the tape says everything about him should be a first-round pick. Ran a slow 40. People are a little worried about him a little bit. And then, of course, with this kind of draft, there was so much talent. I mean, again, you could go into the second or third round and say, man, any other year, these guys would have been first-round picks, right? But, I think, definitely getting Ane as late as we did, I think he's got a lot of intrigue to him. No, number 51. Number 51.
Hey, if folks really want to look at the name, not just look at his college tape, look at the Senior Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That week, he made a name for himself that week. And see, those small school guys, they don't get a lot of attention until they go until they invited to the spotlight. And it's what they show on that, is what they show. And Nate was a beast. He was a beast. And I'm just so excited to see him on this team, man. I got big things for him.
Yeah, I'm ready to see him get in there. And of course, Norton for sure. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, the biggest thing I'm excited about is, even though it wasn't completely all the way to the Tampa 2, but it was definitely cover 2. Man, yeah, bruh, get it out of here. Get it out of here. I'm so happy not to be involved in that anymore. Let me check it. As Norton just checked in for sure. Let's see. Keith Clark's in the building. Thank you very much. Milliner's in the building as well, just checking in. Man, I'm not even going to try. Hafiz. I don't want to try to say your name and mispronounce it, but definitely appreciate you tuning in as well. One last thing before we go, I guess, and we got no more questions popping up here, so I want to ask this one real quick. We've talked about it before. We've kicked it around before. Day one, I want y'all to chime in too, guys. On the final roster. Hey, Mendoza, thank you. Finally, Team Jokes. You missed our jokes talk earlier. Thank you. Are we carrying 3 wide? Are we carrying 3 quarterbacks or 2?
I think it'll be right now. It'll be 2.
Niggas will be 2. Nucci to the practice squad.
Yeah, I don't think McCarthy's ever carried 3 from Green Bay. I know he had my man from UCLA behind Rodgers. I never know who the third stringer was. But then again, maybe it'll be safe to carry 3 with all this going on. I'm gonna say 3 just because of the pandemic and everything.
See, the thing is, I think if there was preseason games where there was tape out, if there was tape out there, I think they would carry 3. I think if we put enough tape up that there would be 3. Mm-hmm. I think now, without the tape being out there, or whatever, I think they'll be able to stash him directly into the practice squad if they need to bring him up at any point. I think, to protect him, I think they will. And,
wait, is there a rule for the practice squad that can teams still this year take from other teams' practice squad? Because I know there was a special ruling. I got to look into it though. If you can't do that, then I can see Danucci to the practice squad.
Yeah, I think there's definitely the ebb and flow now where you don't have to cut them, send them through waivers, all this. You can just put them on the practice squad. So I think they're going to kind of throw them down there and kind of go from there personally. Yeah. I mean, let's not Miller, who just tuned in real quick. I'll toss this up. You already know where I'm at. Do you think this will be a breakout year for Jarwin?
I mean, yeah. Listen, it's pick your poison. I think with Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup, and Zeke, they'll get so much attention that Jarwin you're gonna see guys like Jarwin, Suo, not the real big name guys, get some shine. Uh-huh. And it's gonna be pick your poison. Whatever you take from that side, I'm gonna feed that side, and that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think breakout year. Let's put numbers on that, right? Like if you're expecting to have 1,000-yard receiving season, that's not going to happen. There's too much talent on this offense for that to happen. So, you have to kind of define what a breakout year would be. Between 600 yards and around 5 touchdown catches, I think that's huge. That's huge. 650 yards, 5 touchdown catches. I think 4 or 5 touchdown catches. I think for sure that's a breakout year for Jarwin because with everything else going on around him, the 2 running backs, the 3 wide receivers, there's only one ball. So we'll see. Now, obviously, things can change, right? Injuries, he gets a more predominant role, things of that nature. Yeah, I mean, again, breakout's is a relative term. It depends on what you consider a breakout year for a tight end to be. Where Blake Jarwin's walking into this thing. Again, for me, I'm looking, okay, he says, I'm in the 600-700 range, around 5 TDs, give or take. And the man that asked the question said 700 to 800 yards, 5 TDs for a breakout year. Fair enough.
Yeah, come on.
Fair enough.
if we get 3,000-yard receivers and Jarman gets 800,
I mean, sir, you know what we all about here, the SEO, that score strength offense. And as Jordan just said, we're putting 40 burgers up all year long.
Man.
We're putting up 40 burgers. That was my big reason for good CeeDee Lamb.
I'm
you already know.
Definitely fantasy. Definitely doing that.
Yeah, so intriguing stuff there. I'm excited for Blake. I'm excited for him to be unfiltered finally and not have that. I've been preaching the good word of Jaws for years. If you tune up the tape from him when he was at Oklahoma State, when I looked at him going into that, I said, man, this dude's like an athletic Witten, really. He's kind of, he's kind of the build or whatever. He doesn't block as well as Witten, but be clear. As much as we love Witten wasn't a pancake guy, but he was a good blocker. He was a two-way guy.
Right.
And not that Blake is the blocker that Witten was, but he's damn sure way more than the receiver than Witten is at this stage of the game, for sure.
BJ, you remember that Giant game when I went to the last game of the season where he ran for about 3 or 4 touchdowns? I was like, BJ, all wilding over here, man. I'm in Giant Stadium, and you got these guys saying, well, who's that tight end? Who's that guy? I'm saying, that's Blake Jarwin.
Yeah.
That's BJ, this guy right there. So,
yeah.
that's listen, that's going to be something. It's going to be something.
Can Lamb get 50 receptions?
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, Cobb got about 60 last year. He dropped at least 7 or 8 of them. I think Lamb's going to be a terror. I think Lamb's going to score. Lamb's going to score in a lot of different ways.
Well, I mean, think about
he's going to. Oh man.
Well, I mean, and of course, the big thing too for me, as it comes to that, is like we know that Gallup's going to be on the outside, right? We know he's outside. That's what it is.
Right.
And then in these 3 wide receiver sets, well, man, we're going to be able to get Coop in the slot. We're going to be able to get Lamb in the slot, and let those things kind of happen and facilitate. So yeah, I mean, I think, look, our guy Jay Tuck believes he'll be the number 1 wide receiver by the end of the year. I'm not going that far at all. But yeah, I do think Lamb can get over 50 catches. I think that's definitely in the realm of possibility of him getting over 50 catches. Again, I could see him in that 60-70 range as we're talking about what the offense was last year. We're talking about what Cobb did. So yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna give Lamb the one up, the +1 over 50. I'll take the over. If we're doing over under, I'll take the over on the 50. If we're in gambling in Vegas.
Right.
If we're gambling in Vegas.
I'll tell you one thing, man. For the Super Bowl, I got to find out the rules for quarantine because I'll be up there in Texas.
Whoa!
I'm telling you, I'm out of there. If we go February, hopefully by that time we'll be in a better situation. Let's just have the first.
But let us
question.
I know, but let us.
Question. It got me going.
I understand, but can we just have the first practice? Let's have the first practice. Let's start there. Norton said, I don't think Noah Brown's here personally. I think Mary kind of buys into him possibly being here. Personally, I don't think he's here. I think his time is up. I think he's going to have a phenomenal camp. Something he hasn't shown in camp yet to be here next year. I just don't think it's going to happen for him, unfortunately. Does Cooper get 12 touchdown catches? I'm going under.
Yeah.
I'm going to go under. 8. I'm somewhere in the 9 to maybe 8, maybe 9 to 11. Yeah, I'm going under. I'm going under on the Cooper getting 12 touchdowns. Is definitely where I'm at on that one.
Too many balls, man. Too many.
There's a lot of man. There's so
much, man. I'm telling you.
There's a lot, man. I mean, there's a ton. There's a ton. Mendoza says yes, though. Mendoza with the yes, he's going to get 12. Are you going Mendoza? Are you going push or over 12? Are you push right at 12 or over 12? I'm gonna go a little under.
Are we saying Dak's gonna try to chase Peyton Manning and Tom Brady touchdown record over 50 touchdowns. I mean,
That's
he has 36.
I mean, that's the
Yes,
only.
36.
I mean, that's the only way. I mean,
30.
I will say that's the only way that I see him getting 12 is if Dak's over 40, approaching 50, 40, 45 plus. And then if we're talking he's going to have 45 plus touchdowns, then maybe maybe I'll creep into he'll get 12. But I don't know. I mean, it does combined, yes. We're talking about just rushing. I don't know. But combined, yes. I
think Pollard would definitely be the move for that too. Pollard, Suo. Remember, in this type of offense, everybody's gonna get burned. It's not like you at the goal line and traditionally hand off to Zeke. It's gonna be a lot of different movements. You're gonna see Suo as fullback get him burned. You're gonna see Pollard on certain plays. So listen. End of the day, as long as these guys win, the numbers won't be as high.
Right, no doubt, man. But here's the thing about it. Right at the end of the day, man, it's just exciting. We're past whatever with the Dak situation and whatnot. We're right now. The only thing we're waiting to happen at this point, as we talked about, we let out the show talking about Gregory, what he talked about on Twitter today, getting reinstated. That's the final, shoe to drop, if you will. And if as soon as Gregory's back on here, we're at our 80. And we're ready to get after this thing. As our coach said, right? As our coach said, everything we do from this point forward is what? About winning. Winning. So, I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready to see these practices. I'm ready to get after it. Obviously, we're what's today? The 5th. So we're 12 days away from the first padded practice. And then after that, 13 more days to the blue and white scrimmage. And then September 5th, man, we're off to Los Angeles to play the Rams and open up that new stadium and maybe hand them an L out the gate, right? It's exciting times. Everybody should be excited. The honeymoon kind of took a dip after the Dak deal didn't get done and Jamal didn't get traded for. But all of a sudden, looks like the honeymoon's come back just a little bit. We're back on the.
I'm in a better mood now.
Yeah, see? Hashtag just win. That part. Yeah, I'm ready. Hey, we all are, man. It's been a weird year, right, with everything that's been going on. I hope everyone here has been safe, but we're finally maybe to get to this. I'm still worried about the season, guys. I'm still on record. I'm still worried. I mean, MLB is kind of struggling. Obviously the NBA, no positive tests, but they're in a bubble, right? So I'm still a little nervous, but I mean, again, as long as it keeps riding, I'm going to keep believing. So we're about to get to these practices and really get things going. Hopefully before Friday, we'll hear about Randy Gregory and he gets reinstated. I would hate to hear that he's getting suspended X amount of games coming forward. I think he's paid his dues. It's time for him to come back to the fold, and let's just move forward and get the 80 and hit the road running. What do you got for the people before we get out of here, Spoon?
Repeat that again.
What do you got for the people before we get out of here, Spoon?
Oh, listen, man. Stay healthy. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching us, man. And listen, go Cowboys. We almost there.
No doubt.
Almost there.
No doubt. As always, you catch us here. You watch us on Facebook right now. Don't forget, guys, we got the YouTube. We're trying to grow it now. We're almost over 30 subs already in just a week. So we're definitely building up and doing some extra content on that side. We actually have been doing some after shows over there as well with some special guests and everything just for our YouTube only people. So make sure you go hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, grow the game, grow the show. One last question before we get out of here. What kind of season, quick Spoon, what kind of season did the Cowboys have to have for us to feel like Mike McCarthy is the man for the job? What do you think?
13 playoffs. Maybe go to the NFC East, the NFC title game at least.
Okay, I think I'll agree there. I'll agree there. Whether you win the division or not, if you make it to the end, you got to win me a couple of playoff games. I think that's where I'm at. I think that's where I'm at soon. I mean, at the end of the day, that part we're trying to get 100 subs before the season. Absolutely, Brian. But yeah, I mean, even if we win the division, it doesn't automatically give us a bye anymore. There's only one bye going forward. Win the division, get to the championship game. I think that definitely is going to go a long way. So we'll kind of go from there. With that being said, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in as always. Make sure you turn on that notification button here as well if you're on Facebook, so you know when we do go live, because you never know. Expect us. You just never know. We'll catch y'all next trip. Thank y'all so much, guys.